Is Tourette syndrome a good thing, a bad thing, or a neutral thing?
It's not a bad thing. It's how you were born. It's how you're created. I would say neutral.
Why is it a neutral thing?
Well, even though people disagree with you and they don't think it's normal, it is, because that's how you were created.
Are you proud to be the way you are?
Yes.
What's the biggest reason you wanted to film this video?
To help kids understand who they are more.
If there's a kid watching this who's just learning that they have Tourette syndrome, what's the most important thing they understand?
They should understand that having a syndrome is completely normal and you shouldn't have anybody blame you for it.
What are some of your tics?
Eye twitches, they're not as bad now, but I still have them now and then. Squinching my face, which is kind of like eye twitches, and then moving my arm like that. I usually do that when I was younger. Some tics are very irritating.
Why are they irritating?
Sometimes it pulls my muscles and it hurts, like face squinch.
So it's not something that's only mentally exhausting, but it can be physically exhausting as well?
Yes, I think.
How would you describe your son?
He's amazing. There's nothing that I dislike about my son. Every aspect of him, it's really neat to see so many different levels and layers of Parker, and I enjoy every one of them.
Is a tic something that you feel? Is it something that you have to do?
Yes, you can't stop. But that's okay, because it's a completely normal thing.
We look at Parker and we see a perfect little boy, and regardless of Tourette's or no Tourette's, we just want Parker to know that he's loved.
When you're having a tic, how do you hope other people respond?
That they ignore it and they don't say anything, they just continue on with their conversation.
If there's a parent out there who has a kid with Tourette's and they're thinking, should I tell this kid? Should I explain to him what Tourette's is? What would you say to that parent?
Yes, explain to them that's Tourette's, because if you don't, they're going to go on with life saying, what is this? I don't know what it is. I can't stop. Yes, please tell your child if they have Tourette's or any other syndrome. Make sure they have a syndrome first before telling them. But yes, you should tell them. I like that she tells me about Tourette's and it's a normal thing and that I just go on with life with my own interests.
Does it make you more confident knowing that your mom loves you just as you are?
Yes.
Why?
Because she doesn't talk about it and she treats me normal. Well, not normal, but she treats me as who I am. When I didn't know what it was, I like that they told me about it so I know what it is. And like, if I didn't know what it is, I'll be like, why is this happening? I can't stop. But I like that they told me about it. And they're very supporting. And it's just kept me good over all these years.
What would you say is one of the most pivotal things when parenting a child with Tourette's?
As parents, we can be the ones that are more insecure about it, and we kind of can put that onto the child as well. My biggest lesson was not to put my own insecurities and my fears onto him, because then it would become a bigger thing than it is, and I think he would have been more insecure about it.
Is a tic a big deal?
Not to me, no. But when I get stressed, yes, it is.
Why is it a big deal when you get stressed?
I'm not sure, but whenever I get stressed, my tics just seem to get, like, it's like nerves getting upset, and like, I don't like it, it's uncomfortable, and my muscles start to tense with different stuff.
Is it important to accept his tics instead of trying to diminish them?
Yeah, absolutely. If we try to control something that's just natural within him, it's just going to cause more stress, which is going to indeed, cause more tics. But I think, stepping back and seeing the big picture and being able to work through Tourette's, we can be able to, think outside the box a little bit and how we can handle and build up his confidence level, versus trying to hide it or ignore it, accept it, love him through it.
You kind of smirked when you looked at your brother.
Smirk?
Smiled.
Oh, yeah.
Does he make you laugh?
Yes, you're both very funny.
Did you ever tell your brother about Tourette syndrome?
He already knows it, so he doesn't bother asking.
Have you ever had a conversation with him about it?
No, I haven't. He just pretends like we just pretend we're normal. Well, nobody's normal, but he just acts like I don't have Tourette's.
What do you know about Tourette's?
That you can't stop it. Since my whole family gets my Tourette's, I'm not sure like my other family members, but my main family, I love that they get my Tourette's, my syndrome, and they ignore it.
What do you think when your brother's having a tic? You don't really think about it?
No, I don't really.
How does that make you feel that he doesn't really think about it?
Nice. Great. I like that he doesn't talk about it, and we just go back to what we're talking about.
What's your older brother like?
He's into video games, sometimes board games or card games. He's into the pool too.
Is everybody with Tourette syndrome the same?
No, everybody's different.
How so?
We all have our own personality, and even though like if we have the same name, we look different because of our DNA.
What advice would you have to a parent whose child was just diagnosed?
It's okay. We can oftentimes get that label or that stigma behind a label, and we get so scared, and you think, you don't want anything, you don't want other families to view you as different, and that's okay. Don't worry about what other people think. At the end of the day, it's not about, what people think to begin with. It's about who's sitting next to you and who you love and care about the most.
I'm glad I'm doing this
Why are you glad you're doing this?
because I like talking to other people about it, and I'm not the only one who knows that I have the same thing, and there are other kids like me.
Is it important for kids who have Tourette's to know they're not alone?
Yes. So that they don't think they're weird. They're okay for who they are.
Before you learned a lot about Tourette's, have you ever felt alone?
Kind of, because even though I have my brother and sister and friends, most of my friends don't have syndromes, and I feel like I'm the only one, so that's why I'm glad talking about this.
When your friends watch this and they learn that you have Tourette's syndrome, what do you hope your friends think?
Oh, look, it's our friend Parker, and he's talking about his Tourette's. I like that.
I think it's incredibly brave that you were willing to share your story today and advocate so that other kids with Tourette syndrome know they're not alone. How has it felt?
Talking about it?
Yeah.
Awesome.